kind of late, but I kind of wanted to make a video talking about something I was kind of thinking of, something that I think of a lot is like, I've always wanted to like kind of know things and understand things, so I kind of always ask myself like, can you know um, like the true causes of things? And like typically if something happens, so let's say like one night you don't get good sleep. So the question I've been trying to answer or trying to figure out is, can you know the cause of it? And the answer is, at least right now, maybe yes and no. That you can guess like, oh, this might be one thing that caused it. This might be another thing that caused it. And there is some objective truth within there. So like some things for sure did cause it, but there is also maybe guesses in there. So some things that you thought caused it, but in fact didn't. Um, Maybe a lot of the things that happen, there are multiple things that caused it, and maybe it's never really one thing that causes any one thing. Maybe there's a variety of factors a lot of the time, and also maybe a lot of the time we don't know exactly why something was caused by something or not caused by something. So some nights maybe you just happen to get poor sleep for some unforeseen reason, but does that mean, so the next question is, does that mean that that reason still exists? And I would say that perhaps a reason exists, but perhaps again the important thing to keep in mind is that there's a variety of factors. So that's something to keep in mind. So any one thing that happens, there's like a variety of factors that contribute to what causes that particular effect. Some of which might be mental placebo, some of which might be like kind of unconscious elements, or some of which might be things that are outside your control. But so many different things that can factor. A thing to think about is like, if you have a workout day which ends up being a bad day, sometimes you can say that, oh, like maybe because I got poor sleep, or maybe because I didn't eat enough the day before, or maybe because I took caffeine and just happened to not take caffeine this session. And I think as human beings, myself, I always do this, is that like I want to be able to say that, you know, this is why X thing happened, this is why Y thing happened, this is why this went this way, or this was the cause of this was the cause of that. But in fact, to anything that really happens, it's like it's a variety of factors that contribute whether something happens or not, whether one thing works or not, whether something is a success or a failure, whether if in lifting, if your squat is good or not, or if you hit a certain amount of weight or not. Something to think about too is that whether something happens or not, and all the factors that contribute, it's kind of similar to like something that's been built over like a long time. All these like little things contribute to having it be built, and even then it kind of happened gradually, maybe. And maybe that's the case with contributing factors too, that it happened gradually, it didn't happen overnight. Or maybe that squat session that you had that wasn't good, maybe it's not just because you ate poor the night before, but maybe it contributes that you've been eating fast food for the last 2 weeks, and there was like sort of a compound interest effect where kind of that compounded and led to your kind of physical state being worse than you had realized, and that kind of like effed up your workout and stuff, you know. But just like something that's was built over like a long time, sometimes contributing factors can be like that. Maybe there's a variety of factors, and maybe it was built over like a long time. And I think I heard Elon Musk talking about this in an interview where he was saying that you know, in any company, people will try to say, you know, like, this is the latest thing, or this is the reason we succeeded, this one thing, like some catchphrase like that, or some just bullshit slogan like that. But really, that's always bullshit, and there's always a variety of factors that contributed to why something works or didn't work. And also, he made the point that, you know, any company, I feel like he made the point, or someone else did, but that any company is usually an iteration of an idea that already existed, or it's like creating something that has already been created and just creating it better and improving things that could have been improved on upon it, um, upon like that previous design or that previous idea or that previous whatever, you know. And that's what a lot of good companies are. And maybe it's the same thing with like contributing factors and stuff, you know, in terms of figuring out what works and what doesn't. Like, you can see how someone has done it successfully, and you can copy a lot of the same things, and in that way you can hope to get similar success, um, and potentially you can, or your odds are better than if you kind of did random things and did different things, and maybe many of the things that you were doing um, weren't positively contributing to the the ends you were trying to achieve. You know, maybe if you were doing a lot of things that were unproductive and not like not things that would effectively yield the results that you're trying to gain, then yeah, you wouldn't you'd kind of lower your chances that way. But if you were following something that someone else had already kind of done, and it's like a tested business model or a tested uh, training strategy, um, then maybe your odds of success are greater that way. So that's something to think about too, is that contributing factors are like something that's been built. A lot of the time there's a lot of factors, and it's never like, oh, like just one thing that led to a bad day or something going wrong or something going right or anything. It was built over a long time usually, and a lot of the time there are a lot of factors at play, and we want to say as humans that, oh, you know, it's because of this or it's because of that, but a lot of the time we can't say that, and that's kind of just our ego or our own kind of naivete or something that like wants to say that, oh, this is the reason or that's the reason. But really, we can never truly say, because there's a lot of factors that go into play, and even if it were possible to figure out every single factor, it would kind of be a kind of a thought experiment that wouldn't have much purpose to it, most likely, and just wouldn't be a very effective thing to do. And the last thing is that you can you can kind of look at how people did certain things successfully, and you can kind of copy that. And there is some wisdom or some, I mean, what's the word? Like, there's wisdom or purpose in kind of following the steps of something that's already been proven, a proven method or a proven business model or proven workout or something. And in doing so, you can kind of increase your chances of having a certain kind of success, particularly if you make an iteration of something that's already been created and you kind of put your own twist on things, and you copy, but you make your own sort of unique changes to it, and you do it better. And that's how every single successful company has been made, on something that's already been made before, but just done better. And in terms of factors, just the significance of that is that if you want to have good contributing factors, you can follow models that have already worked. So you can follow a model of eating healthy and have a healthy body as a result, or you can follow a certain model that's been tested and proven or worked for a certain person or a certain number of people, and use it to get good sleep or to have an effective workout. And in copying like that, a lot of the time it can be effective, and you can make your own slight iterations to it and make it better or make it more uniquely catered and kind of tailored towards yourself. So yeah, that's just some thoughts on the topic. You want to say that you can know like what makes something happen and what causes something, but a lot of the time it's a lot of factors, and a lot of the time you never really truly know. And even if you can, or if you could, for some reason it wouldn't there wouldn't be as much point to it as you would think.